Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Hope everybody is staying cool inside, out of that hot weather, unless you have to be out there then, man. Make sure you take your extra water with you. Want to thank everybody for joining in with us, whether you're watching on YouTube, Centex Sports TV / Centex Sports Network over on YouTube. You can check us out there. Get subscribed, like, and share this stream as we've got plenty to talk about with us today. Also, make sure you guys check out the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. You can go over there and get signed up. Free subscription. If you go on there and get signed up, just your name and email, and we'll get you taken care of. Well, folks, lots to talk about here today as we start on Centex Primetime. We got to talk about some of Jerry Jones' comments and what he had to say concerning Micah Parsons. We've got to talk about, I guess, the biggest breaking news so far today, that Shedur Sanders will be starting the first preseason game for the Cleveland Browns. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the clip that went viral of the guys out there on the Cleveland Sports Radio taking up for Shedur. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk some high school football today, folks. We'll talk about a couple week one matchups that I really like and looking forward to here in week one of high school football in this Central Texas / Greater Waco area. Only a few weeks away now, believe about 24 days away from the kickoff on football season here in Central Texas. That includes high school football. That includes your Baylor Bears playing on a Friday night game, a blackout game against the Auburn Tigers. Can't wait to be able to see that. That's on August 29th. So we'll talk some of that today as well. And as always, we'll talk some topics going on around the world of sports. And I'll give out at the end of the episode today my top 5 quarterbacks in the Big 12. My top 5 quarterbacks in the Big 12 going into this year. I believe the Big 12 has the best selection of quarterbacks in the country this year out of all the Power 4 conferences. Obviously, we know what the SEC is. We know they've got Arch Manning. But I still believe the collection of talent is better in the Big 12, and I'll give out my top 5 guys I have in the Big 12 coming back this year. Well, folks, we're going to jump straight into it here today on Centex Primetime. Joining me over the phone here today, familiar voice and face to the show, Mr. PJ Gaither, joining in with us. PJ, what's going on?
Man, just chilling. Been watching a lot of things, definitely regarding sports and everything that's been going on. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm in traffic right now. It's 5 o'clock traffic, but I'm good though. I'm getting through it.
Hey, I know that 5 o'clock traffic going to be a little worse in Dallas if they get out there and decide to trade Micah Parsons. So yeah. I'm gonna jump in. We already seen how they acted the fool with Luka, man. We got to get Jerry to come off the rails a little bit with this Micah stuff. So I want to go right into that, folks. Jerry Jones and his latest comments on Micah Parsons and this trade deal. Like I said, losing a huge star just 7 months ago with Luka Doncic. Now Micah Parsons asking for a trade coming out of it. I want to play a quick clip of Jerry Jones, I believe yesterday at practice, speaking about the trade request that Micah Parsons put in. That Micah Parsons said himself, I submitted this to Stephen Jones himself. And like I said yesterday on the show, I think this is a little bit of all talk, part of negotiations. Jerry Jones kind of said something similar. Let's take a quick listen into what Jerry Jones had to say about the Micah Parsons trade.
Let's put it like this.
Start this.
Considering trading Micah?
Wait a minute, I can't hear anything. I really can't.
Really?
Really can't.
I'll do it again. Jerry, are you considering trading Micah Parsons?
Well, let's put it like this. Surely you guys have been around this stuff and know to recognize negotiation talk, that type of thing, and so that's where I put that.
So are you considering it?
I'm not. At this, the facts are that that's like anything else. I think the world of Micah, and that's just part of negotiation.
Would you ever consider trading Micah?
Again, I don't really place that with any real seriousness. Micah's got a bad back. That's like being traded.
So at the end of the clip there, he says Michael Parsons got a bad back. That's the same as asking for a trade request, referring to that's just terminology that guys use whenever they're trying to get out of playing or they're trying to get out of participating. He's got a bad back. He's saying that's the same thing with this trade request. This isn't a real request in Jerry Jones' eyes. Now, I feel similarly that I don't think this is a real trade request from Michael Parsons. But people were saying, the reporter, he had to ask him 3 or 4 times, how many, is he going to trade him? Is he going to trade him? It's because Jerry Jones keeps dancing around the answer. The answer should be no, we're not trading Michael Parsons. We're going to get a deal done with Michael Parsons. The deal should have been done in February. The deal after that should have been done in April. The deal after that should have been done in June. These are all the times where Max Crosby signed, Myles Garrett signed, TJ Watt signed. All these guys signed except for one, and that's Mr. Michael Parsons, who Jerry Jones is just revisiting history here. This is what he does to some of his stars. I've seen people saying, this is what he does to all his stars. He doesn't do it to all his stars. He does it to Michael Parsons. He does it to Dak. He does it to CeeDee Lamb. He didn't do it to Tony Romo. He didn't do it to Travis Frederick. He didn't do it to Jason Witten. He didn't do it to Jason Garrett, who was a coach. Reoccurring theme with the guys that did have to do it. Dez, CD, Michael Parsons. And that's for whatever you want to think it is. But, man, Jerry Jones, I don't get the reason of waiting, like I said yesterday. It literally makes no sense. You come out and you dance around these questions instead of just giving definitive answers. We keep getting more and more information that you're trying to deal with Micah. You're trying to just deal with Micah to do a deal and say, I don't really talk to the agents. Who are you going to talk to? Michael Parsons is not just going to let you go out there and give him some type of under-the-table deal. This is almost bullying from Jerry Jones. I want to give you a deal under the table. If you don't accept it, I'm going to come out and say, well, we offered you a bunch of money, and you didn't take it. You didn't give him anything in writing. Like, come on. You know that's not how business works. Jerry knows it's not how business works. I don't understand him trying to force his will against Micah in this scenario. It's just going to get more and more expensive. And then you have to worry about a guy getting hurt after he misses the entire preseason. And week 1, you got the Super Bowl champs at Philly is who you have week 1. Don't you think it would be beneficial to the team, to Michael Parsons, to have him in practice and get the deal done? What's going to change from then to now? And I know some people say, well, the TV deal hits like the last week of August. Jerry doesn't need to wait on TV deal money to get this done. Just put man, I don't understand. Get the contract done, Jerry. PJ, what's your thoughts on Jerry Jones' comments and what he just recently said, and then this whole Jerry versus Micah deal that's been going on for almost about 2 weeks now? Now he asked for a trade.
It should never even really got this far. I agree with you. I feel like it should be a definite no. If somebody asks you, are you going to trade him? That should be no, because this guy's our star player, not just for for the defense, yeah, but really just for the entire team. I feel like he's like the guy that brings a lot of the momentum for the team. You know what I mean? He's really one of the, man, I ain't gonna lie, like he's probably one of the best defensive players that we've seen on our team since maybe the 90s, because he's that dominant. He's that dominant, so it should be a definite no. I don't understand why he's taking so long. We're going to need him going into week 1. With him not really participating right now, you know what I'm saying, just trying to hold out, that's not good for neither party. It's not good for him. It's not good for the team. That's the guy that we're really going to need. He's the anchor for the defense. So it's just answer the question and just say no, and then go ahead and pay the man. I really don't understand what's taking so long. Why are you just playing with fire? I don't really understand it. I don't think that Michael want to be out of Dallas. Michael loves Dallas. I mean, if you're up here, sometimes you might see Michael. You know what I mean? He loves the city of Dallas. He be all through the city. I don't think he's going to leave, but at the same time, when it comes to a man's money, you know what I'm saying, his family, then yeah, dude, I think anybody will go ahead and leave. It don't really matter when it comes to that, to that part, really, if you really love the city that you're playing in. If somebody's disrespecting you, to me, I feel like he's being disrespected by Jerry Jones and his son, then yeah, you will leave if you need to. So I don't think, like I said, I don't think he want to leave. But him putting that trade, it's not serious. I feel like they're going to end up paying him, but it's just the fact of like, when are you going to pay him? Because I feel like as soon as he would have requested, I really would never even got that far if I was the owner. You know, if I feel like any of one of us was the owner, it would have never got this far. We would have paid this dude a long time ago. But I thought he should have definitely have been paid as soon as he requested for a trade.
I mean, you said it right. This guy is a generational talent, and I know we throw that word out a lot now, but that's exactly what Micah Parsons is. Somebody that makes multiple first-team All-Pros within their first 4 years. Somebody that's got 50-plus sacks in 4 years. And for the people that maybe they should trade him, you can get a whole bunch of picks. Which one of those picks are going to get 50 sacks in 4 years? Which one of them?
Stupid.
That doesn't make any sense. This is a generational. You're not talking about trading a regular guy on the team, a linebacker that's had some decent production. Who has made first team All Pro multiple times in the last 4 years? It's a very short list of players that have done it multiple times. Micah's on that list, and he hasn't even reached his prime.
Let me shout out
Go ahead.
Let me shout out guys like Sean Lee, DeMarcus Ware. Like, we've had some dogs.
Absolutely.
I love Sean
and Micah's
Lee.
better than all of them.
I love watching him play. He's better than all them dudes, though. He's better than all them dudes. Like, dude is literally being compared to legends, like Lawrence Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's still young. Like, we the same age.
Yep.
He's only 26.
And we're talking about trading this guy.
Come on, bro. It don't make no sense, man. This is gonna be worse. Like, I don't. If we were to trade him, this would be worse than the Luka trade.
I mean, probably, because the Cowboys are way more important, way bigger of a brand than the Mavericks. At the end of the day, as big of a star Luka is, as big as a star the Mavericks guys, all this is cool. The Cowboys are a different planet when we're talking about stardom, when we're talking about what it means to the city, to the state, to the NFL. And Micah Parsons is the biggest player on that team. He's the best player on the team by far. If this is how you treat your best player, what type of encouragement is that supposed to give the next guy that wants to come up and get paid?
He's literally the only player at this point on the team that we can kind of like for sure know every week is going to like he gonna show out every week. Besides, like, even with CD, we kind of CD's finally there at that point. But there was a time before that we wasn't sure with CD if he was gonna, you know what I'm saying, perform every week. But with Michael, we've been known that he's gonna perform every week.
Every single week, and you somehow can't find the time to pay this guy, can't find the money, and the money doesn't make any sense as much as he'll try to make it make sense. It'll never make sense. It's only going to get more expensive. If you wait from now until October, it'll be more expensive. If you wait from October to December, it'll be more expensive. It doesn't make any sense. That doesn't even make business sense of why you wouldn't sign this guy and get it out the way early. Look at the Mahomes deal. I said it yesterday on the show. Look at the Patrick Mahomes deal. That everybody was saying, man, they gave him $500 million, 10 years. Look how great of a deal, of a bargain that is now. He's on the best deal in sports probably. Patrick Mahomes is only getting $45 million a year. Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys are getting 60. Brock Purdy, guys that we know Mahomes is way better than, and they're getting way more money than him because they got the deal out the way early. Let's not play around. Let's not, we can find a bargain and chip here. I said yesterday on the show, there is no win at the end of this for Jerry Jones. There is no win. The only thing is trading him or paying him. And to Jerry's standards, neither one of those are a win. So there isn't a win for you right here, Jerry. Just get this out the way. Get this guy signed. It shouldn't even have got to the point of him requesting for a trade. And like I said yesterday, he's going to do this to the wrong one day. He keeps doing this to all his players. One of these guys are going to be the wrong one, and they're actually going to leave for real. And then you're just going to be stuck with an egg on your face saying, I guess we didn't need this guy. Maybe he wasn't. You're going to make up something that doesn't make sense.
Something stupid.
You're going to make up something and just babble something out that doesn't make any sense at this point. But let's just hope it doesn't get that far with Micah. The Cowboys actually have a chance to be a good team this year. The best player on the team isn't even practicing. And now you're going to ask him to not play or practice all training camp, all preseason, and then throw him in week 1 against Philly, against the champs, and expect him to be productive, and expect him to not get hurt since you're holding guys accountable for getting hurt, like they're out there playing, I don't even know, equestrian or something. This is football. This is the most injury-prone sport there is possible outside of boxing and UFC. This is the most injury-prone thing you can do. Of course somebody's going to get injured. That's a part of the game. So, we've been talking about it back and forth, man. Jerry, hopefully he gets this out the way, gets this guy paid so they can move on with their season, so Micah can move on, because we know that's what's going to happen. He's going to get paid. It's not like we're wondering if he's going to get paid or what type of he's going to get paid, and he's going to be the highest paid defensive player in the league because of Jerry. So let's get this thing under wraps. They got a game this weekend, and preseason is getting ready to kick off, and you don't want that to be the story going in the entire preseason over and over and over. You got to answer questions about Michael Parsons and are you going to pay this guy, yada, yada, yada. Let's get that out the way, Jerry, and get Micah paid, get him in suit so he can be a leader out there. He's trying to be a leader. He showed it last year on the team when he went out there and played hurt against Cincinnati and dominated that game. They ended up losing towards the very end, but Micah dominated in that game and was playing hurt, so he's already shown some type of leadership with that. Preseason starts this weekend, everybody. Preseason is kicking off this weekend. We are getting football back, finally, already back this weekend. I know it's preseason. Some people say, oh, I don't want to watch preseason. It's just the 2s and the 3s out there. If you're a real football fan like myself, you're going to watch the preseason because what else are you going to watch right now? Sorry to the MLB and sorry to the W. But football is king. We all know that. If you're going to watch football, you're going to have to watch with these preseason games. We're not that far away from high school football, like I said earlier. Not that far away from college football, like I said earlier. We got preseason this weekend. And the biggest news coming out today so far is that Shedur Sanders will start the preseason opener on Friday for the Cleveland Browns. Now, look how far we've come in just this couple of weeks of training camp start. Started off training camp, Shedur literally was not even throwing the ball. He would get 2 to 3 reps, just 2 to 3 reps each practice. He's out there for 3 hours, 2.5-hour practice, not even throwing the ball, not getting any real live action, just going through some drills. That's about it. Now, here we are going into the first preseason game. Shedur Sanders is the starter. So here's the first part of it. Shedur Sanders is the starter, and this does not mean he will be the starter in week 1. This means he's starting the first preseason game. We talked about it yesterday on the show. Dylan Gabriel sustained an injury this past weekend. Kenny Pickett sustained an injury last week in practice. They're not going to start a 41-year-old Joe Flacco week 1 of preseason. They're not doing that. No 40-year-old, there's not really any 40-year-olds playing football, but no 40-year-old is going to start week 1 of preseason. Week 1 of the season is something different. No 40-year-old is starting week 1 of the preseason. So Shedur has to start in this game. That's one. They had to start Shedur, and that's why he's starting. Do I think Shedur is the best quarterback out of the bunch? We'll see. I do think he's the best, but we'll see once they get out there on the field. He's not starting this just because, the TV ratings are going to shoot up or they're going to do this. It's the storyline. There was nobody else that could start. They picked up Tyler Huntley, and that made huge news earlier today. People, why are they getting another quarterback? They just signed another quarterback. What's going on? They got 5, 6 quarterbacks. They really only got 2 that can play in preseason right now because Dylan Gabriel can't play, or they don't want him to play, and Kenny Pickett can't play. Joe Flacco's not touching the preseason. Maybe he'll get a drive in week 3 of the preseason or something. We know exactly what he can do. There's nothing to prove. He literally can only get worse out there if it's Joe Flacco in the preseason. Nothing beneficial is going to come from that. So that leaves Shedur and now Tyler Huntley to play. Now, it's just funny that Shedur has to be the one to end up with the starting job because, as Rocky said on the show yesterday and maybe a week ago, football is going to football. No matter how you try to plan out, we want Shedur to be the 4th string. We don't want him to get – no matter what you try to do, football is going to present opportunities probably to everybody on the team. And Shedur is getting that opportunity. And from here, it's in Shedur's hands. We wanted him to get reps. People complaining online he's not getting enough reps. They're not treating him fair. Well, here we go Friday. Week 1 of the preseason. What are you going to do with the ball in your hands? I haven't seen Shedur fold under pressure in his collegiate career or in his high school career. So I wouldn't expect him to do that this weekend. But we've got to go out there and see it first. PJ, what are your thoughts on Shedur getting named the starter this weekend against the Titans, I believe? It's either the Titans or the Jags that the Browns are playing. I think it's the Titans, though.
I'm excited for him, man, because this I feel like what he need. I'm one of them people that have been feeling like the Browns. I feel like everybody been feeling like the Browns been treating them unfairly.
Mm-hmm.
They whole this situation is just still so stupid to me. I can't really, wrap my mind around a team drafting 2 quarterbacks in one draft. I just really don't understand it. I really don't, bro. And definitely a team like organization like the Browns that y'all really kind of trying to, rebuild. So I don't really understand that. But we're here now, and like you said, he plays this Friday. So I've never seen him really fold under pressure either. I don't feel like any of us have. I think he's gonna stand on business when it comes Friday to play up in this game. My thing is, man, like, okay, if he play, let's say he play good. Let's just say he play good, on Friday. Then what?
It's
You know what I
scary
mean?
hours.
Coming from the Browns. Yeah, scary hours for the Browns organization at that point, because y'all really was trying to do this man wrong. Y'all really didn't want to see him, prosper at all. So if he played good on Friday, then what?
Yeah, it's the thing is, all of this is going to come back to bite the Browns. The Browns, how they've acted so far, is they're trying to justify. All you can do as a GM is try to justify your picks. That's really all you can do. You can pick the guys, you can have them out there, and you can try to influence the coach or whoever the organization to justify your picks. The Browns putting Shedur, because it all happened back to back to back. We seen the depth chart with Shedur being the 4th string quarterback on the roster. All the stuff of Dylan Gabriel getting the first team reps.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that don't make any sense. Dylan Gabriel getting the first team reps over Shedur and all this. This has only been a ploy to justify, hey, we're not idiots. We picked Dylan Gabriel because we know what's going on, and you guys don't know what's going on. When in actuality, we really were just doing anything. We picked Dylan Gabriel over Shedur for absolutely no reason. Then we picked Shedur because, despite what Jimmy Haslam says, I think was an organizational decision made by him to say, hey, let's go out there and get Shedur, man. It's our last pick. We got nothing to lose. Let's go get him. Now, you're going to look like the bad guys, Cleveland Browns, because Shedur is better than Dylan Gabriel at everything. There's nothing Dylan Gabriel's better at than Shedur. Nothing. Not accuracy, not arm power, not velocity on the ball, not reading the defense, not height, nothing. There's nothing he's better than him at, and you know that. So you can't just stick them both out there and get them equal reps, because Shedur is going to clearly zoom past Dylan Gabriel. He's going to fly by him. Case in point, this weekend. Okay, Shedur has been doing his thing. Everybody sees the clips. We all see the clips of Shedur in practice. So we got to get Dylan Gabriel in there and get him some clips. What is Dylan Gabriel doing in practice? Goes 3 for 14 in a practice. 3 for 14. With some interceptions as well to go with it. So now you're starting to get exposed of what I've been saying this entire time as we've tried to depict and read into what are the Cleveland Browns doing. Maybe they just don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're one of the worst franchises in sports history because they just don't know what they're doing. And I think that's the biggest point here. Can they luck up and get Shedur, who could end up being a star? Absolutely. People get lucky all the time. But they don't. I'm not going to give this organization credit of, they're trying to do this and they're going to manipulate this, and maybe they saw something in Dylan Gabriel. No, they didn't. Maybe they were just picking random players. Maybe they gave a guy with 25 civil cases against him $230 million guaranteed. Maybe they just make not smart decisions. You draft Baker Mayfield number 1 overall over Josh Allen, over Lamar Jackson, and then Baker Mayfield ends up turning out to be decent, and you get rid of him. So maybe just the Browns just don't know what they're doing, especially when it comes to picking a quarterback. Now, could they get lucky and Shedur be a star? Absolutely, that could happen. And PJ, to your point, you said, what's going to happen if he goes out there and balls? Everyone, it's going to be chaos in Cleveland at that point. Because the fans, if Shedur goes out there and scores a touchdown and throws that wrist up and they start playing perfect timing in the Cleveland Browns stadium, you might as well send Joe Flacco home. You might as well send Kenny Pickett home. And you might as well send Dylan Gabriel to the CFL. Because there's no chance of any of those dudes playing. If Shedur goes out there, plays great on Friday, the crowd's going to go crazy. The amount of fanfare that's going to be around it's going to be impossible to play anybody outside of Shedur. So they better hope that he doesn't go out there and go for 200 yards in a preseason game, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Because then all chaos is going to break loose from there. Now, we know there's been some prejudice against Shedur since he's kind of got into this league, even maybe from his own organization, maybe from the media that covers him. Some of it's starting to get uncovered. We've seen the Cleveland Browns Sports Radio had some of their personnel on there, and they got to talking about Shedur and some of the other things. And one of the guys from the Cleveland Browns Radio had to step up and kind of check the dude that was talking, and I loved it. I think that he did the right thing in that scenario, and I'm going to play this clip real quick to show that, yes, there are still media members in Cleveland that are hating on Shedur, and that, yes, there is a regime that's rocking with Shedur that if he goes out there and plays great, like I said, it's going to be hard to get him back in. Let's listen to this clip really quick coming from the Cleveland Browns Sports Radio up there in Cleveland.
Got the fewest reps in camp, and he's got a sore arm. Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
What is it?
He's trying to get his arm right, Tone. I'm sure he's probably practiced more now than he has at any point in his collegiate
obviously
career.
it was counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus, God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God,
here's the
because his
thing.
arm's sore? What, that's a negative? That the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes.
Because he's working too hard? The hell out of here.
Working against who?
Get out of here. You got an agenda with that. You're going to, you know what,
Yes.
Tone? That's going to bite you in the ass.
See, now even he had to call the dude out and say, you got an agenda. That was the key piece here and the key word. You got an agenda with this. And we've seen this from Shedur's entire draft process to how they talk about his pops. And now everyone wants to backtrack what they said because they figured out Dion was battling cancer. Now they want to backtrack what they said, like they weren't saying this dude was trying to take extra vacation days and trying to go hang out with Carucci, and that's why he was gone. And turns out the dude is actually beating bladder cancer, and now y'all look like idiots once again. This guy had to call him out with his own narratives that you're trying to put out there. You were going to, and he thought everybody was going to agree with him. We should all bash Shedur because he got a sore arm for working too hard. He said he's throwing before and after practice. Maybe that's counterproductive. Maybe that's not working since your arm is sore. So the dude should not overwork himself, not say, hey, man, he's working so hard that his arm is sore because he's getting in that much extra work because we know he ain't getting no reps in practice, so it can't be from practice. He's getting that much extra work in, and we should bash him for that. Shout out to the dude for standing on business, man, and checking the guy right there where he said it. Let's go ahead and just make it a practice as before we get started into this season with Shedur and all this. Let's just go ahead and make it a practice to check the people right where they said something crazy right then and there. So shout out to dude for doing that. PJ, what do you think about the sports radio host calling the other guys BS out on live radio like that?
We need more of that because there's a lot of people that be out here putting out nonsense and and don't nobody really be checking them. You know, so they can just consistently just say ignorant things about certain players and certain situations. So I'm happy that he stood up for him like that. We need more people to do that, definitely publicly.
For sure. I like it. Somebody's got to be the one to say it, man. You guys are trying to paint these pictures and paint these narratives, but like we keep saying over and over, football is gonna football. If Shedur goes out there and balls on Friday and the next week after that and the next week after that, it's gonna be nothing y'all can do to try to stop him, to try to stop the tidal wave that's coming. You would think the Cleveland Browns would embrace it because this is the most relevant they've been probably since Jim Brown was playing. And we're talking about black and white films when Jim Brown was playing. The Super Bowl wasn't even out. The Super Bowl ain't came out yet when Jim Brown was playing. It wasn't even out. They still played championships. There was no Super Bowls. That's how long ago it's been since the Cleveland Browns have been anywhere close to this relevant. Not Johnny Manziel coming out there. And I seen go ahead.
I'll say really since Bernie Kosar, and that's the 80s.
Definitely. And that's when they were good, but they ain't had this much buzz. This ain't even about Cleveland being good. This is about somebody watching. They're documenting and watching every play in practice from this team. They've never been this relevant ever in life. Lead me to say, like I said in our group message earlier, Shedur might be the biggest star in the NFL already, which is insane to say. that a dude that's a 5th-round pick that hadn't even played a snap might be the biggest star. But look, it speaks for itself. Most people would say Justin Jefferson may be the biggest star, Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson, all these guys. I don't know what their practices look like. I haven't seen one rep from Jefferson in camp. I haven't seen one rep. I've seen every rep from Shedur because that's the fanfare and the name that it brings behind it, man. So shout out to Shedur. And I seen Johnny Manziel online trying to defend Cam Newton. Hey, Johnny, just stay out of that one, bro. I don't think that's going to work how you think it is. We've had this conversation on here before, PJ, talking about athletes getting into it with rappers or content creators, whoever, and they should leave the athletes alone. In this situation, Johnny Manziel, hey, you need to leave Gillis. I understand he was trying to defend Cam Newton, and I was on Cam's side too in the situation with him and Gilly going back and forth. But Johnny Manziel coming out saying, next time I see Gilly, I'm going to slap him. I don't think that's going to go the way you think it's going to go, Johnny. I think you should leave that guy alone. That's an old dude from Philly, bro. You should leave dude alone. He's never going to be by himself, first off. So you should just X that out. These are $100 million guys. Of course they have security. I wouldn't suggest you going up and just slapping somebody. I respect you for trying to defend Cam Newton, but you went about it the wrong way, my brother. So just step out of that next time. But Shedur, we're going to see it this Friday, preseason, against the Panthers. That was a team, by the way, y'all, that I was messing up. They're playing against the Panthers this Friday at 6 o'clock. They could have moved that game back a little bit later. Golly, 6. So I guess y'all better hurry up and get off work to get home and see what Shedur and those dudes are doing. I don't know what channel it's going to be on. I don't know if you got to make a subscription some kind of way, but I'm sure it's going to be something subscription-based because the Cleveland Browns are trying to get paid. They see the gravy train. They see the money train coming right now. So, yeah, they definitely will have something like that. I want to go to a couple of local topics here today, folks, talking about week 1 in high school football. First off, I said it yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. MCC is debuting a brand new team. Their volleyball team will be making their debut in just a few short weeks. So make sure you guys are getting ready for that. As a MCC, this is their first year adding volleyball. Like I said yesterday, all of their programs do excellent. Not good, but excellent. This is one of the best JUCO programs in the entire country when you think about their athletic success in baseball, softball, men and women's basketball, tennis, golf. Their dance team has multiple national titles. Everything MCC does is they do it with excellence. The athletic director, Sean Trocum, does an amazing job. I expect volleyball to fall right into place in that. And we're in a hotbed as far as volleyball talent when you think about teams like Midway, the Robinsons, China Spring, Lorena. They've got a really great player on their team right now from Bosqueville. We're in a hub for volleyball talent, so I only expect this MCC team to get better each and every year. But it's their first year this year. So make sure you guys are going to support. As always, you can watch all of their games. We'll be right here on Centex Sports Network, of course. I want to talk a little bit about some high school football, some week 1 matchups. Like I said, we're just 24 days away from the kickoff here in Central Texas for high school football. And I want to talk about a couple of games that are going to be fun to watch, fun to enjoy watching on this Friday night. If you're not watching the Baylor game, I know a lot of y'all are going to be tuning in. A lot of y'all are going to be tuning into the Baylor game, which is on the same day. But if you're not tuning into the Baylor game, you definitely should check out these couple of games going on locally. First one, August 29th, 7:30 kickoff. This is on a smaller scale, but I definitely do think this will be a very fun matchup to watch. And that's the Mark Panthers taking on the Whitney Wildcats. Now, most people say, man, why would I, smaller football, why would I watch that? But the people connected to those programs know this is going to be a big-time matchup. Mart, one of the most winning high school football teams in Texas state football history, the history of football, not just here in Central Texas, but for every single team out of the history of football. They're one of the top programs. So they have expectations of championship or bust every year for those guys. And I love that about Mart. Taking on the Whitney team, that's a division, 2 divisions up above them. Whitney's in 3A Division 1, Mart is in 2A Division 2. But this Whitney team has done a great job the last few years putting together a really, really good team. Whitney dominated the last time these guys played last year. Will Mart try to kind of get their lick back? That caught a lot of people off guard that, oh, man, Mart losing that kind of way 42-8. This Whitney team's got talent. Young kids like Kobe Haynes on the team, a guy that I talked about multiple times on the show. He's got offers from Baylor, offers from multiple other schools as well. Hopefully that'll be another one of those guys Baylor will be able to keep home as well. But he had a big part to do with that. And this Mark team, they're going to be looking to bounce back coming off of what some people would consider a down year, I guess by their standards. For most teams in high school football, that'd be a great year. But by their standards, a down year. They're losing some talent as well. Can they come back out week one and make a statement and get a statement win over a team like Whitney? PJ, what do you think about that Martin-Whitney matchup week one?
It's gonna be a great game. I feel like Mark is gonna really try to rebound, definitely off that loss from last year, like you said. And Whitney really surprised a lot. They surprised me honestly last year. You know, until you started really talking about them, I started paying attention to them. And they really are a really good team. You know, we're not really used to Whitney just, you know, being dominant.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So it shocked me. And coming into this year, they're gonna be good again. So now we already know about Mark. The biggest thing is just how they're going to rebound and just see, you know, if they can really face up against this Whitney team that's pretty much loaded right now going into this season. But I feel like Mark's going to play this game really good. They're going to kind of come back with a vengeance. You know, they'll never get whooped like that.
Yeah.
So I don't see them getting whooped again like that, you know.
Yeah, Mart is their team that's used to being on the other end of dominance. Last year, like I said, that Whitney team came right out and attacked from the jump. Now, I know Whitney is a bigger program than them, but like I said, Mart is a perennial powerhouse. So that's going to be a very, very fun matchup. Another one that I like a lot for week one, and week two is when we'll start getting a lot of the inner city matchups, you know, that we see every single year, the different schools, the La Vegas and Conleys, all that. We'll see that kind of week two and week three. But these are just for week one. Another one I want to talk about in week one is a game that was really fun to watch last year in week one, and that is Franklin versus China Spring. We just talked about Mart trying to come back from a bounce back year. China Spring is trying to bounce back this year. This is another perennial powerhouse, especially in the Central Texas area, a team that's not used to losing the way that they did last year with a 2-8 record. This will show us in this game against Franklin, is China Spring back to being for real? That's how I feel this game is. This is a game for China Spring to show everybody, hey, we're back. We know we had a down year last year, but we're back. We're coming out here to fight for another district title in a district that I've said over and over the last year, probably the pound for pound, one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas. When you talk about La Vega, China Spring, Conley, Lorena, Gatesville, Robinson, all of these teams are good. This is going to be one of the most interesting districts to watch. China Spring can come out and make a statement in this game one. Last year, they lost their opener against Franklin, 46-30. It was 26-16 at halftime. It was a really entertaining game that went back and forth, as I remember it from last year. But this year, China Spring wants to show that they're serious. It's going to start week one against Franklin. On the other side of this, Franklin is used to dominating in 3A Division I over the last 5 years. They're still dominating, but they're looking to get back into championship contention that they kind of fell out of last year. We know one of their own is the star player for the Baylor Bears that I think is one of the best running backs in the nation, and Bryson Washington comes right out of this program in Franklin, man. So Franklin is used to producing top-end talent like that and competing for championships. These two clashing on week one will let us know something about both of these teams. Can China Spring get back to what they're used to? Can Franklin get back to championship contention? Can't wait to watch this game on August 29th. PJ, what's your thoughts about Franklin versus China Spring in week one?
Yeah, I'm excited for this game too, man. You know, China Spring, like you said, they did have a down year. I'm hoping that they bounce back. You know, China Spring is usually a dominant program, definitely these last few years. So last year was kind of like an anomaly, you know what I mean? Because we were used to them being up there as one of the better teams, definitely in 4A across the state, not even just in the area. And then Franklin is like, man, Franklin is pretty much, they've been moving like Mart lately, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, in their division, they've been really moving like Mart usually. So, I mean, you got two powerhouses, man. Everybody know about these teams. If you pay attention to Texas high school football, you're going to know about, you know, China Spring and 4A. You're going to know about Franklin and 3A. Both these teams have played at the highest point that we all wanted to get to, and that's the state championship. Both teams have played multiple times in that game. So both teams are very well known. Both teams have put out some really good players, like you said, Bryson Washington for Franklin. As of recently, that's playing for Baylor. So I'm thinking this game is gonna be another good game. Definitely for the first game of the season, it's gonna be really good. Where is it gonna be? Is it gonna be at Franklin or is it gonna be at China Spring?
That game will be in Franklin, week 1, Franklin High School.
Okay, so China Spring gonna have to get on the road. They're gonna have to go on the road and go down there. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's
It's
tough.
gonna be tough for them, but that's tough, man. Playing down in Franklin, so I can't really say who's gonna win or who's gonna lose, or whatever. But I'm really thinking that this is gonna be a really good. It was a good game last year. So I'm thinking it's gonna be probably even better coming up this year. Hopefully, China Spring bounce back and have a better season. We're really gonna see in this game how they're gonna really face up against Franklin. That's really gonna tell it all for us.
Yeah, this will be a huge game for both programs. Both teams trying to dominate, one in 3A Division I, the other one in 4A Division II. Both looking to dominate this season. It's got to start in week 1, like you said. Getting on the road makes it a little bit more difficult for the Cougars to do that. But, man, I trust this team, and I mean, it's going to be a good game either way. Either one, I'm rooting for both teams because I root for all the teams here in Central Texas. So I'm just hoping to see another good game like we got to see last year. Like I said, folks, high school football season just a couple of weeks away, only 24 days away from the kickoff, from the start of high school football, and you'll be able to catch all things going on high school football related in Central Texas right here on Centex Sports Network, as we'll be covering a lot of those teams and just the action going on in Central Texas right here on Centex Sports Network. Want to switch over to get to some quick takes here, folks. While we got some time here left on the show, we'll end a few minutes early here today. But I want to go over to some quick takes and talk about some things going on around the world of sports. First off, one that I just saw in the NFL, 49ers George Kittle, mad that the NFL's new ban of smelling salts, said that he considered retirement jokingly, as he said, after the air grievance that teams in the league informed the league about using ammonia and smelling salts before the games and stuff like that. Now, PJ, we've seen these dudes over the years. They go and get hyped up off that smelling salt, man. I'm not a smelling salt type of guy, and I'm not a guy that likes to get energized off of sniffing stuff. I just think that's a little too close. You're playing with fire there, and George Kittle, along with a lot of other guys in the league, upset about the use of the smelling salts, man. If you watch those dudes before the NFL games, I mean, they getting a big whiff of this stuff. They not trying to get like it burns when you just open the can. If you've been around it, you open up the can or the bag, it already starts to hit your nose. They go in there and put their whole nose in it. I'm like, okay, these guys are different. This can't be good for your brain. Now the NFL is banning this kind of stuff. What do you think about George Kittle and other guys being mad about them banning smelling salts in the NFL this year?
They just need to get over it and find something else that's gonna get y'all hyped up before the games.
It really
that's really all it is to it. Find something else, bro. They already went ahead and banned it. It ain't no need to be trying to play around and come out and talk about it and all that. Just find something else, bro. I've never really understood that anyway, bro. I got terrible allergies. I ain't trying to put nothing up my nose, man. I ain't trying to put nothing up my nose.
I think dudes getting too used to
stress.
Sniffing something to get hyped up, man.
Yeah,
you're getting too used to that. That's not normal.
And if you sniffing, I'm about to say you sniffing that, man, you sniff coke. That's really how I feel.
That's what I'm
you
saying.
Sniff coke, bro.
When you start getting too used to energizing yourself from sniffs, you might be doing some other extracurricular.
You ain't done it, but you ain't done it yet, but you'll do it though. You know how to do it.
Yeah,
I don't even know how to do
right
it.
There. Don't know how. You right there playing with fire. You gonna be what they call it back in the '90s, the White House. You right there from being at the White House, bro. I mean, if you gotta sniff every time to get amped up. I remember Derek Wolf talking about how he did like 2 or 3 sniffing salts, or he would get the smelling salts before the game and then pop 2 or 3 Adderalls before a game. I'm like, see, man, your heart gonna pop out your chest, bro.
Better be a druggie, bro.
That's what you are. It's just a different type. It's just the one that they legalized. Type, but that's exactly what you're doing.
Y'all might as well be on Lawrence Taylor time and start sniffing limes.
And we wonder why that Broncos defense was unstoppable. You had boys out here doing 2-3 Adderalls in one game. He said it felt like the crowd would be on top of my chest when I was playing. I said, yeah, man, y'all try to normalize junkie behavior, but we know a junkie when we hear one.
Yeah.
That's not normal. He said it feels like the crowd is on top of me. Well, the crowd's not on top of you, Derek. That's just the Adderall kicking in, and you can't do anything but focus on getting to the backfield to the quarterback. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. George Kittle getting upset about the smelling salt. Y'all don't need that, bro. Just go out there. Once that crowd hits you, the adrenaline should start to hit you and stuff. Some pre-workout or something like that. Or really, just go out there and get hit. You're going to wake up once you go out there and get hit. If you want to wake up, tell the coach you want to be the gunner on kickoff. And you'll wake up.
I promise.
Like, go be the gunner on kickoff. You're going to wake up. I don't care what you – either you waking up or going to sleep, one or two. That's the only thing going to happen to you. But you'll wake up if you do that. But, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny about George Kittle. We talked a little bit about week one in high school football, but week one this year in college football is going to be absolutely bananas. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago here on the show. Probably the best, in my opinion, the best week one I've ever seen in college football. I'm used to college football starting in, we might get a good game on week one. I mean, last year we had to watch Georgia Tech versus Florida State, and we were so hungry to watch football that we all sat there and watched that terrible game when we knew that was a terrible game. This year, you don't have to watch terrible games. We've got the battle for Death Valley, Clemson LSU. We got Notre Dame taking on Miami, the Catholics versus convicts. But most of all, we have what I have deemed to be the best season opener in the history of college football, and that's going to be what's going on in the shoe in Columbus, Ohio on August 30th, Texas versus Ohio State. Not only is this a rematch of the semifinal game, which was probably the best game throughout the entire college football playoffs last year, Texas-Ohio State, that came all the way down to the last plays of the game, but it's also the first time in NCAA history that the season opener will feature the number one versus the number two team in the nation. Never seen it before. I cannot wait for this season opener. Other great games, like I said, the Death Valley games, the Catholic versus convicts, even Colorado, Georgia Tech is going to be an electric game to be able to watch. But the number one game, the best season opener of all time in college football, in my opinion, will be the number one team versus number two team, Texas versus Ohio State. Have no idea how this game got slated at 12 o'clock. So make sure y'all don't go too crazy at the Baylor tailgates on the 29th for Baylor versus Auburn. Make sure y'all don't go too crazy for your first week of high school football, whatever y'all doing, because we all got to get up in the morning and watch the best game of the year, which is going to be Ohio State versus the Texas Longhorns. PJ, is this the best season opener of all time?
Yeah, it is. And it's not even me being biased. Everybody knows Longhorns. That's my squad.
Yeah.
I'll probably follow them more than anybody, to be honest, man. But no, it's to me, it is. I mean, we never, like you said, this the first time ever that we've had a season opener of number one and number two going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not like, it's so many different storylines going into this game. I mean, you got Arch Manning, who I think Arch Manning is probably the biggest star going into college football this season, I think, since maybe Tim Tebow. And that's I hope that's not crazy, but I mean, he has a lot.
No, he's right. He's right there. He's right there.
Yeah, going into this season right now, man, it's crazy. And if he live up to that hype, he might can surpass that hype that Tim Tebow even had. You know what I mean? If he live up to it. But also you got Julian Sand on the other side, that quarterback for Ohio State, who is a really good quarterback in his own right, but just hasn't had any touches really. You know, he hasn't really played. But he has the best college football player on probably the best player. Yeah, the best player in all of college football is Jeremiah Smith, at receiver. That's who he's throwing to.
Yeah.
And then he also has another number one receiver pretty much. I'll say he's like 1B with Cornell Tate.
Yep.
And then you also have Caleb Downs, who is the best defensive player in all of college football.
Yep.
On the other side of the field. You know what I mean? So they're loaded in their own right. They've lost a lot too, but I mean, both teams have lost a lot. But these are two programs that just reload. This is what they do. You know what I mean? And you're really seeing it even in the recruiting process and everything. I mean, like Texas has five number one players at their position in the class of 2026 has already committed to Texas. And that's insane.
That's crazy.
That's insane. You know what I mean? Ohio State, they have Chris Henry Jr., who's the number one receiver in the class of 2026 out of Matter Day. Monster. Kid is 6'5".
Yeah, like he looks like a creative player. Like, seriously, he does not look like a high schooler whatsoever.
He does not look like it's insane, bro. So both of these programs, man, are well-documented programs. Everybody know what's going on. I mean, you got Ohio State just winning the Natty. Texas has a lot of hype going into this year. They're pretty much expected to, run the table as well, just as Ohio State probably to go back to back for them. But I think this is probably the best. This is you know what? Actually, let me put. I got to put some. Because I said a few players on their side, but I got to say some on ours too. Because I just said Arch Manning, but we also got Colin Simmons, who is the best. You can argue that he's probably the best defensive player in college football as well. Probably one of the more dominant ones, definitely when it comes to edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
We got that dude. Anthony Hill is the best linebacker in all of college football. Facts. I love watching him play. He really just. Yeah, I just love like he really has no weaknesses. I have not seen him have any weakness at this point. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I can go down a list, man. This game is probably going to have like at least 10 to 20, maybe even higher. Maybe I'll go around 30. Like draft, like guys that are going to be like either first round or second round draft picks when they enter the draft.
Absolutely.
This is going to be like 2019 Alabama versus LSU, but better.
And that's saying a lot because it was like 20 pros in that game that played. Not guys. We're not even counting the guys on the bench. I'm talking about that played.
Yeah,
probably 20 pros playing in the game, which is insane for any level outside of the pros to see. But I'm like you, man. It doesn't get any more star-studded than this. I can't believe that Chris Henry Jr. and Jeremiah Smith are going to be on the same team. I don't care if one's going to be a freshman. That is absolutely ridiculous. If y'all have not watched Chris Henry Jr.'s highlights, please go look. Just look at him. Matter of fact, don't even watch the highlights. Just look at him stand up when he's committing to Ohio State. Dude is a monster. Rest in peace, his pops, Chris Henry, that unfortunately died while he was in the league. But man, this guy is an absolute problem. Him with Jeremiah Smith is going to be crazy. But that weekend is going to be must-watch TV. I already talked about the Baylor versus Auburn. That's going to be on Friday. Colorado's playing Georgia Tech at the same time on that Friday. No idea how in the world 11 o'clock is the time for this Ohio State versus Texas game. But that whole weekend is going to be crazy.
I can tell you what happened.
Yeah,
I can tell you what happened with that. So we had some inside information and everything. They said basically Ohio State was going to try to move the game to Sunday so they can play it at night.
Yeah,
but that's kind of stupid because, that's dumb. You got NFL games or whatever. Texas just felt like, no, if we're going to why we move the game to Sunday, we want to play on Saturday, so we just keep it at 12 o'clock. My thing is y'all have other games that are playing that night that, to me, aren't as big as this game. They're really good games, as well.
No game is as big as this game.
But no game as big as this game. This is supposed to be a night game. Off the back, this is supposed to be a night game.
It should have got changed to Saturday night, like you said. I remember when they tried to move it. They tried to move it to Sunday night, but Texas is like, we already got to get on a 3-4 hour flight back to Texas, and then you want us to play on Sunday night and then have to play again on Saturday morning after we're not even going to get back to Texas till Monday. So no, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Let's just keep it on Saturday so guys can keep their regimen and keeps their week going. School is going to be starting. It's going to be a lot going on. So to already add in and extra stuff like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fox basically has something to do with it not being a night game. So I really feel like they fumbled. They fumbled on that one.
They definitely did. Y'all don't like money or something. I know the other guys had. Hey, you move them. I know there's other slots already taken up right there at that night game. Who cares? You move it around. This is Texas versus Ohio State. What are we talking about? It should have been a no-brainer. But I'm just glad that we don't have to watch Alabama versus McNeese State week 1. 'Cause that's the stuff we usually have to watch. Like they
Yeah.
usually give us some of the most garbage games of all time. We gotta watch Georgia versus Chattanooga and watch them score 100 points in a quarter. Like nobody wants to watch that, man. So shout out to the schedule makers because we're getting that game. We're getting Alabama versus Florida State. We're getting. It's so many good games that are going to be happening that weekend, and I'm glad that football is back and that we'll get a chance to see it. That Friday night is going to be a busy one because we got high school football going on, but you got Baylor playing and you got Colorado playing in the same night. That's going to be a crazy opener in week 1. Like I said, best season opener of all time. Debate with whoever you want to debate with. I'm not debating that. I think this is definitely the best season opener of all time. Travis Hunter, been getting a lot of attention, obviously, number 2 pick in the draft. But as of right now, listed on the depth chart at wide receiver 1 and at cornerback 2. Second string corner going back into on the depth chart for this upcoming season. They're saying they're going to give him a shot to play both ways. I love it. I still think that his best side of the football is at corner. I've seen his reps at corner in training camp, and I've seen his reps at receiver. I will always believe that this dude is a natural-born corner in the league, has Hall of Fame potential, in my opinion, at DB. At receiver, I do think he's still really, really good. You can't teach those ball skills. He's not the crispest route runner or he's not the fastest guy in the world, but you cannot teach the ball skills that this guy has. He knows how to find the ball. They're going to use him on both sides, and obviously they prefer him at receiver. I prefer him at corner, though. PJ, what's your thoughts on him being listed on both sides for the depth chart? Really, first time I could think of in NFL that we're doing that, listing a guy on both sides of the depth chart this early in the season.
Yeah, I think it's cool that they're going to go ahead and let him, give it a try. But I agree with you, though. I feel like he's a way better corner than receiver. I don't know. And it's not to say that he's bad. I mean, we all know he's good at both sides, but I just feel like he's way better at corner than receiver. I feel like he's like you said, a natural-born cornerback. So, we're going to see how that goes. But I'm excited to see it, though. We've never seen this. I haven't. I have never seen anybody, be on both sides of the depth chart like that. And then to be up there, I think he's like cornerback 2, right? Cornerback 2 or 3?
Yeah, he's second string corner.
Yeah, he's second string corner. So, yeah, no, he's for sure playing. He's for sure playing if you're cornerback 2. So, no, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this, man. We haven't seen this since, like you said, I'm like you. I've never seen it before. But I'm sure it happened back when those helmets were squishy and stuff like that, and they had the one crossbar in the black and white film days. I'm sure that, dudes was playing kicker and safety and stuff like that at the same time, stuff that don't even make sense. But we haven't seen it in modern NFL is what I'll say. We're not going to count, Johnny Unitas and the Baltimore Colts and all that. We're not going to count any of that. We're talking about modern NFL. This is the first time I've seen it, and I want to see it on the field. Can this dude really dominate on both sides of the ball? He's already going down as probably top 5 best college player of all time, in my opinion, for what he did in college. Dude literally won the Belindikoff, the Heisman, and the best DB. Or didn't get the Jim Thorpe Award, but he got one of the defensive awards for best defender as well to go along with the Belindikoff and the Heisman. Absolutely insane. We've never seen anybody do anything close to that before. He's cemented as a top 5 college football player, top 3, in my opinion, college football player of all time. If he can come out and do anything similar in the NFL, we're talking about somebody that's going to get a gold jacket. Somebody's going to go down as one of the best guys to ever play football, if he can do that. So I'm excited to see. I love watching history in the making. Either it's going to make or break him playing both sides. We'll see how that goes with Travis Hunter, but we'll definitely be rooting for him to see what they're going to do. I wanted to see if he's going to get any action this weekend in preseason. Sometimes they hold out some guys in the very first week of preseason, which doesn't make much sense. There's been a lot of debate on that back and forth. Should these guys play preseason or should they not play preseason? I'm always of the mindset the guys need to play in the preseason. We're getting a bad product in week 1 and 2 from certain teams because they haven't played in a year. Haven't played football in a year because you didn't play them in the preseason. Do I think they got to play every snap or it's always going to be the older guys. Seeing Herm Edwards get on ESPN, they asked him about it. He was like, well, we played 6 preseason games. When I was playing, I said, boy, they didn't care about y'all at all. 6 preseason games? And you probably had to play every rep. You probably only got out in the fourth quarter or something like that, They didn't care about y'all at all. There was no science on health with football. All they was football. No science behind it at all. To play 6 preseason games and then play 16 regular season games is wild. Hopefully you don't go to the Super Bowl. You're gonna play 30 games in a year. Like that's crazy. But what's your stance on these guys playing in preseason and not playing? There's been a lot of back and forth over the last couple of years. Or should these guys play in preseason or not?
Yeah, I mean, you're not no well-established starter or anything like that. Yeah, you need to be playing. Even if you're a starter, really, man, like one drive not gonna hurt you.
Exactly.
You know, one drive not gonna hurt you. Maybe even 2 drives. You know, you can really play the whole entire first quarter.
I will play first, and when it gets to the last game,
Like,
2 games, preseason game, you playing first and second quarter. You playing the first half.
Yeah, second quarter.
Because how are you gonna get in shape?
We gotta get. Come on now, we gotta get ready for the season, bro. The season literally is it's pretty much once preseason start, the season started. That's how I'm looking at it. So the season has started. So play, you know what I'm saying? Play, probably the first 2 games. Y'all can play like probably 2 drives, get out. But like like you said, once it gets to like the 3rd or 4th game, definitely the 4th one, y'all need to be playing the entire half.
At least, bro.
And if you're not gonna play the entire half, bro, at least play a full quarter, man. Like play a full quarter and maybe half of the second quarter. But you got to be ready, bro. You got to be ready going into the season because when you go into the season, y'all gonna be playing all 4.
Yeah, you playing, and then you're wondering why guys is cramping in week 1, why guys getting soft tissue.
Who's getting calf strains out here.
Yeah, we know what the calf strain turns into. So we wonder why this kind of stuff happened. It's got to be some type of preparation. I ain't saying go play 6 preseason games like Herm Edwards. I'm saying that don't play any preseason games and then go out there and wonder why dudes are getting limped up, are coming out there limping, getting lumped up in the first game because they haven't got hit like that. Y'all are just thudding in practice. Y'all really not even hitting in practice because you're scared of injury. So now you're just thudding out there. Then you don't play preseason when it actually is hits. Then you're protecting guys in the inter squad scrimmages you do in the preseason. You protect certain guys and, we don't want you to go full speed. And then you wonder why stuff gets hurt going into week 1, week 2, week 3. You got to go out there and play. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I've never got anywhere close to playing in the NFL, so those guys will have more knowledge than me on it. But just completely sitting out doesn't make any sense in my head. And then we're seeing the uptick in, ACLs, Achilles, all these different injuries like that. I'm just saying it could be something with that. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to try to explain it like I am a doctor. I think you should play at least a half in preseason. In game 2 and game 3, you should play maybe a quarter in game 2 and play the first half in game 3. And then rhythm is a big part of it. These offenses come in out of rhythm. How they going to be in rhythm? You ain't practiced, you ain't played in 2 months. How is the quarterback and the receiver going to be in rhythm? How is the running back going to be in timing with his offensive line if they don't do it? But outside of practice when you can't even hit nobody. So, that's just my take on it. But I think those guys should play some in preseason. Super excited about preseason starting this weekend. We already talked about the Shedur starting this weekend. If you guys are just now tuning in, Shedur will be starting on Friday against the Carolina Panthers. So super excited about preseason. I want to get to one more before we jump off here today. I want to give out my top 5 quarterbacks. My top 5. I'll go ahead and say that. My top 5 quarterbacks coming into the Big 12 this season. Now, like I said at the top of the show, some people will say, oh, man, well, this guy is in the SEC is better. Obviously, Arch Manning's in the SEC, the Norris Sellers. I think as a collective, the best collection of quarterback talent is in the Big 12 this year. They're returning almost all of their guys. There's only 2 or 3 guys returning as starting quarterback in the other Power 4 conferences, in the ACC, in the Big 10, in the SEC. There's more than 5 guys, closer to 10 guys returning this year in the Big 12. I think that's big, especially in the transfer portal era that we're in now. It's hard to get 2 years with a guy. So to get 2 years of a starter, and especially at a position like quarterback, man, that means everything, especially for a lot of these guys staying within those same systems that they've been in. Coming in at number 5, I kind of went back and forth with a few different names on this. Who was I going to put in at this 5th spot? Where was I going to put this guy? Where was I going to put this guy? Coming in at number 5, though, just looking at it as an overall talent, I like Jalen Daniels at Kansas, man. I know who he had Kansas didn't have the great season that a lot of people thought they were. They were ranked in the preseason. People thought this was going to be the year Kansas took off, and they didn't do that. Matter of fact, they did the opposite. Jalen Daniels still put up almost 2,500 yards passing and over 1,000 yards rushing. I still think that is good enough to get it done in the Big 12. Now, what would his offense look like? I'm not sure. It's not like he's throwing the LSU's receiving core or Texas's receiving core or something like that. And Devin Neal is also gone, who was a huge part of that offense. But I think that's actually going to put more weight on the Jalen Daniels' shoulders, and I'm hoping that this kid can step up and make all the plays. At number 4, I went back and forth with this one. And number 4, which one of these guys I got to put in? I went between Rocco Beck and Josh Hoover for who was I going to put in this top 5. And I think I'm going to put Josh Hoover at that number 4 spot. Now, I know Rocco Beck is playing on a much better team. I think Iowa State is a better team. And Rocco Beck did some great things last year, throwing for 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns. But Josh Hoover had a really good year that kind of went under the radar. I know he threw 11 picks, but the dude almost threw 30 touchdowns. He threw 27 touchdowns. He threw for pretty much 4,000 yards, threw for 3,900 yards in there. In a TCU team that's kind of slept on right now. No one's talking about TCU. They've got a big week 1 opener taking on North Carolina. We'll see if Bill Belichick has any imprint on that team, or is he going to let the 27-year-old girl coach or not? But we'll see how that's going to go on week 1. But they got a big test playing against North Carolina. I think Josh Hoover is one of the best quarterbacks coming back in this Big 12. I think he's got all the tools. He can run. He's a dual threat type of guy. Now, he did lose a lot of receiving production. They put 3 dudes in the NFL last year, so that's a big part of it. But I think Josh Hoover, as a dual threat, is a really, really good quarterback. Coming in at number 3, I got a guy that a lot of guys were going to put in number 1, Sam Levitt. We all saw the great season he had last year as a freshman. Threw for 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, rushed for a few touchdowns in there as well. Was named Big 12 preseason Offensive Player of the Year going into this year. Like I've said before, losing Cam Scatterbo is going to dial this offense back a little bit, I believe. Now, they brought back Jordan Tyson, who got injured last year, who's going to be a very productive receiver for them. They went in the transfer portal and went and got a really good running back to try to replace Cam Scatterbo. But from what we seen last year, you don't just replace a guy like Cam Scatterbo. I still think Sam Levitt is going to be a really, really good quarterback. I just don't think he was the top guy coming back this year. At number 2, I've got the guy that Rocky coined as the general, Avery Johnson at Kansas State. I think Avery Johnson has all the tools to be not only one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the Big 12, but to be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He's a bigger guy, a great dual threat quarterback who threw for 2,700 yards last year and rushed for 900 yards and 14 touchdowns. 14 rushing touchdowns, threw for 25 of them. Dude is a problem. When I saw him in Big 12 Media Day, he's even bigger in person than what he looks like in the game. He's a big dude coming out there at quarterback, man. I think Avery Johnson is right up there with the best quarterbacks in the nation. And at number 1, I might be being a little bit of a homer with this, but the numbers speak for themselves. I got Sawyer Robertson. Threw for 3,000 yards last year, 28 touchdowns last year as well. Still rushed for over 200 yards last year. The 6-game winning streak that they went on last year, he went from 23 points a game that they averaged at the beginning to 34.5 points a game on that 6-game winning streak. A lot of that was because of him, because of guys like Bryson Washington, because of guys like Josh Cameron. And I'm expecting Michael Trigg to be more of a part in this offense as well at the tight end spot. I love what Sawyer Robertson did last year. Can he build on that this year with an almost new receiving core? Now that we heard the news that Ashton Hawkins did get granted that 6th year of eligibility at Baylor, so he's going to come back. That gives them some more room in the slot. But they're bringing in guys like Kobe Prentice from Alabama, bringing in guys like Brown as well. They got a lot of guys coming in, Cole coming in as well. They're bringing in some new guys that can really play to add along with Josh Cameron and Bryson Washington and Dawson Pendergrass and Michael Trigg. I think Sawyer Robertson at the end of this season is going to end the season as the best quarterback in the Big 12. Those are my top 5 guys that I have in it. I had Jalen Daniels at 5. At number 4, I had Josh Hoover. Number 3, Sam Levitt. Number 2, the general, Avery Johnson. And at number 1, I had Sawyer Robertson, man. PJ, what do you think about my top 5 list? Or who are some guys that I left out that you think could be on this list as well?
I think that's a perfect list. Definitely going into the season. Right now, I feel like Sawyer Robinson is number 1 too as well. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't feel like you had anybody like at a bad position or whatever. I feel like those are all the top 5 best quarterbacks in the Big 12. And I mean, anybody really can finish the season from that list as the best quarterback in the Big 12. All of them have high upside, but I really feel like Sawyer Robinson, not trying to be a homer, but I feel like to me, out of all those quarterbacks, I feel like he's the better quarterback out of all of them. But all of them are really good. All of them got some hype going into this season, definitely for their teams, as a collective. So, no, I agree with your top 5.
Yeah, I just wanted to, put it in perspective, and I still left guys off that list that are going to be really good. Obviously, Noah Fafita's going to have a great year. Brenham Morton, a lot of guys have him in their top 5. I got to see a little bit more from Morton. I still remember, them struggling against Abilene Christian to open up the season. I know it's going to be a completely different team now, but I got to see it. Can he be a top 5? He could end up being a number 1, I'm sure. But I got to see him be more consistent, and he might have the best receiving core out of everybody I named on this group. So he could be in there as well at Texas Tech. Obviously, like I said, Rocco Beck, I went back and forth with having him on the list, and you could have thrown him in there as well, too. And then Devin Dampier was an interesting one that I almost put on the list, transferring over from New Mexico State to Utah now. They're expecting a lot of big things of him at Utah. He rushed for almost 1,500 yards last year, and then threw for almost 3,000 yards last year. So the dude can play. But playing in New Mexico State is completely different from playing in the Big 12. So we'll see once you get in there what is that Utah offense going to look like out there as well. But if I'm leaving somebody out, jump in the comments. Let me know, hey, man, you're tripping. We can't leave this guy out. Or this guy should have been hired. This guy should have been there. Let me know what y'all think on the list, on my list of guys when y'all go in there. Yesterday, PJ, we talked a little bit about the AP poll. The coaches put out their first AP poll yesterday in the top 25. They got Texas number 1, Ohio State number 2, Penn State number 3, Georgia number 4, and at number 5 they got Notre Dame. To round out the top 10, they had Clemson at 6, Oregon at 7, Alabama at 8, LSU at 9, Miami at 10. There's always a lot of grievance when the first poll comes out. I don't think this list is that bad though. At least if you're talking about the top 10. Now in the top 25, I think there's some questionable ones. Arizona State at 11, it's kind of questionable. I get it. They're coming off a Big 12 championship. At 11, I think was a little high. Illinois at 12, I think was super high, and I get it. Illinois is bringing back, I want to say, the most starting production out of the Power 4 schools probably. I think Illinois is bringing back the most. Both sides of the ball, they got almost all their guys coming back, and they were pretty good last year. But number 12 is pretty high. Michigan at 14. I get it. I get Bryce Underwood is a dog and all that, and we expect him to be great. But we're not going to act like we didn't see that Michigan offense last year. Bryce Underwood is going to have a lot of work to do to turn that offense around on a team that honestly lost even more guys. Donovan Edwards is not coming back, and Mullings is not coming back at running back. So to put them at 14, hey, I think that was just a little bit of a stretch. I think Indiana's too low at 18. I 100% will put Indiana in front of Illinois. Illinois is at 12. I think Indiana is a much better team than Illinois, but obviously we'll see that get played out. And then certain teams didn't make that top 25, like a Baylor. Texas Tech just barely snuck in at 24. And I understand Baylor not being on, but I don't understand Boise State being number 25. I don't know if anybody reminded the coaches that Ashton Genty's in the NFL now. Why is Boise State number 25? Like, I know it's week 1, and obviously they could get blasted in week 1 and then get out and they'll never be back in there. But why is Boise State even at 25? Ashton Genty was the whole team.
Who they got coming back? That should make them number 25.
I don't know. I didn't know anybody on the team last year. I just knew Ashton Genty, and he's gone. So what makes them think that they're going to be at 25? But what's your thoughts on the first AP coaches poll that came out?
I mean, it was cool. I do like the top 10. I feel like the top 10 is I feel like that's very accurate. I was kind of upset that Baylor wasn't in there. I don't really understand. You said, I think Texas Tech was in there, right?
Texas Tech, Baylor made it in at 24. They made it in at 24.
Well, 24. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. At least they in it. But I do, like I said, I agree with the top 10, and really, man, that top 5, you can really flip it however you want. If you don't want Texas at 1, you can easily put Ohio State at 1, or if you wanted, Penn State could even have an argument to be
Yeah,
number 1 just from all the production that they're bringing back. Definitely with the 2 running backs that they're bringing back and their quarterback,
absolutely.
and their defense is going to be loaded again. So yeah, the top 5, man, you can flip that however you want. I don't really have any arguments when it comes to that one, or just really the top 10. I seen some people kind of saying like they felt like Miami was kind of too high for them to be at number 10. But I mean, I don't,
You know
I
they
kind of
gon'
disagree.
they love Carson Beck, man. They gonna give him some extra love
Yeah,
on
they
there
love
because
Carson Beck.
Carson Beck is there.
Yeah, and I feel like that they going to have a good team. I really like their offense. They have weapons at receiver, so he's going to be throwing to some really, really
Yeah,
good guys. Uh, the defense is my question. When it comes to Miami, and then it's just the ACC, bro. You really just don't know. Really Clemson right now is leading it. They leading the ACC definitely.
they should dominate
Coming
the
off a
ACC
winning.
this year.
They really should. I mean, I'm a big advocate on like I'm really huge on SMU.
Yep.
And I really feel like that they don't get enough respect. Definitely making it to the ACC championship game in their first year in the ACC. Something that a lot of people don't really talk about. I feel like Texas has been getting all the love for making it to the SEC championship game. We got to show some love to SMU for making it to the ACC championship game on their first year. And I feel like they played a decent game. It's going to take time for them to be able to. You know what? No, I can't even say that. That's cap because it's NIL now. So I feel like SMU is going to be one of those teams in the ACC again that are going to be
For
dominant, and they're
sure.
going to surprise people again. Just because to me, people are sleep on them, and everybody talking about besides Clemson, everybody talking about really Miami
Mm-hmm.
in the ACC, and people putting a lot of respect for some reason on Florida State when they did nothing last year.
They got the Castillo's kid. Is that I don't know if I'm saying his name right from Boston College. They had a good year at quarterback last year, but outside of that, I mean, what are we expecting? I can't expect nothing out of Florida State after what we saw last year. I can't put any expectation on Florida State. I don't expect them to be good. I don't expect them to be the worst team, but I'm not going to come out and think they're going to be one of the better teams. I think SMU should have been higher on that list. Definitely somewhere. I think they should have been higher than Michigan. Should have been higher than Illinois. They're right up there with the Arizona States, those type of teams. And like you said, in the ACC championship, they were more than competitive. Clemson had to come back from down. They had to come back on Clemson from when they were down and were a play away from being able to win that game. So, another year in the offense for Kevin Jennings. I think it's going to be great. They've retooled in the wide receiver room. They've retooled in the running back room. They even went and got Chris Johnson Jr. to add to their speed. Last year, SMU was like a track team, especially with guys like Brashard Smith at running back. Now you add in a guy like Chris Johnson Jr., who, DNA alone, he's going to be crazy fast. So sticking him out there on that team at SMU too, I think is going to help out a lot. But I'm like you. I think that the coaches poll, they got it right for the most part, especially in that top 10. You can put any one of those guys at number 1 in there. Rocky asked me yesterday if he had to see anybody falling out of that top 5, who would you say will fall out of that top 5? Texas at 1, Ohio State at 2, Penn State at 3, Georgia at 4, and Notre Dame at 5. Who could you see falling out of that top 5 if you had to pick somebody?
That's hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Uh,
Yesterday, I said Notre Dame, not because Notre Dame is bad, but really because they're losing a huge piece to their offense in Riley Leonard. And this is the first time in a while I've seen Notre Dame have a competitive to hard schedule to start off the season. Usually it's bad. Usually they're playing all the bad teams, but their first 5 games, they got Miami week 1, A&M right after that,
okay.
Purdue week 3, going to Arkansas to play Arkansas, and then week 5 they're playing Boise State. So it's a tougher year than what they used to have. But I don't any of those guys in the top
I would
5.
say Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would probably say Notre Dame too, but I was actually kind of leaning a little bit towards Georgia a little bit.
Georgia got a tough man. Georgia and Texas got a tough schedule this year.
Got a tough schedule, man. Yeah, it's gonna be really any of them teams, man. Because all them teams got some competition that they got to play. And a few of them teams got to play each other, like Texas and Georgia, Ohio State, and Penn State got to play each other.
Yeah, the only one I would pick really to
it's
not fall out of that is Penn State to not fall out,
Penn
because they
State,
always
yeah.
playing them cupcake schedules where they get to play
Cupcake Big Ten.
they get to play Rutgers and Northwestern and stuff like that. Like that's the only reason I wouldn't pick them to fall out of there. But I think the coaches poll got it right for the most part with that top 5, man. I can't wait to see that. I'm expecting, I think that week 2 game with A&M versus Notre Dame is going to speak a lot for both teams. We're going to see, can Notre Dame bounce back, new quarterback in the system and all that. And we're going to see what is Marcel Reed made of. Last year, he was the electric freshman. Well, all that stuff wears off. Can the dude play football or not? That's what we're going to figure out this year. And with that A&M, because they got everything else. They got receivers. Their defense is loaded. Their offensive line is going to be good. The running back room is super loaded, almost too loaded. They still got, Reuben Owens barely even gets any burn. They still got Le'Veon Moss. They still got Daniels. They got a loaded backfield. So we'll see with this A&M team. That's creeping up. Almost made it to the SEC championship last year. We're a couple of games away from that. Are they going to pick up from that momentum, or are they going to go out and be sorry the first couple of games like they did last year? So a lot of interesting storylines for the first couple of weeks of college football, and I am super, super excited to be able to watch that. That is going to be August 29th and August 30th is when those games will start for week 1. I know they have the week 0 games. I think on the 23rd, we'll get Iowa State versus Kansas State. I think that's the game they're putting in Dublin. Like I said before, I don't know how we keep putting games in Dublin. I don't know if that's like a big football spot or something. Ireland. I get it when they went to the UK and the NFL, or definitely Mexico City, huge football community in Mexico. But Dublin, I don't even think they'd be watching the game. I think they'd just be drunk and kind of walking around looking, because sometimes they'll cheer at a random point. Somebody get like an incomplete pass and they're like cheering. I don't even know if they know what's going on out there. But that'll be the Dublin game this year. Will be Iowa State versus Kansas State to start off week 0. But folks, in a little bit earlier today, I want to thank everybody for watching with us here today on Centex Primetime. If you haven't already, make sure you guys go over to our YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Also like and share these past streams. Some really great interviews up on our YouTube right now. Yesterday we had the interview with DJ McKinney, the preseason All-American, Big 12 All-American from Colorado at DB. He talked about some of his ties to the Waco area as well. We have an interview up with athletic director of Colorado, Rick George, up there. This week we'll be dropping the interviews with the Baylor defense. We got the chance to interview 3 Baylor players off on the defensive side of the ball a couple of weeks ago. Devin Bobby out of DeSoto, who's one of the senior leaders for this team. Keaton Thomas, who is a preseason All-American as well. And also Jackie Marshall, who is going to be another big-time part of this defense for Baylor as well. We'll be dropping all of those this week, so make sure you guys are tuning in here on Centex Primetime. Thanks, everybody, for watching with us. You can see my Instagram handle, where you can find me at the bottom ticker at Jalen Gillis down there. You'll be able to see me on Instagram. You can also follow the show and the channel, Centex Sports TV and Centex Primetime on Instagram as well. You can also find us on Facebook, Centex Sports TV, and on the website, as always, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, to talk about some of these topics some more. We will see you guys then. Everybody have a great evening.